Hey guys, I hope you're doing okay. Today I have a really crazy story that just messes up my entire format. It's a story that's different from any other story I've told, especially on this page. Most of you know that I don't typically name the perpetrator, but in today's case, nobody died, thank the Lord, except for the perpetrator. So I'm gonna have to name him. I'm gonna keep the victim's name private to ensure her privacy. So let's talk about Duane Youd. Y-O-U-D. Youd. I'm not sure. Does it matter? Not really. Duane was 47 years old when he flew a plane into his house where his wife and stepson were sleeping. Earlier in the day, Duane and his wife had gotten into an argument. He assaulted her and was arrested. And just hours after posting bail, he went to his place of work, stole the airplane, and crashed it into their house in the middle of the night. Miraculously, as I mentioned, his wife and her son, his stepson, made it out alive, unharmed, uninjured. I'm not sure how, but I would love to hear their story. Duane had been married once before, and with that wife, he had 2 children, a son and a daughter. At the time of the attack, Duane and his wife lived in Payson, and his ex-wife lived somewhere close because his kids would often go from her house to his house. After they divorced, he met another woman and they started a relationship. I'm not sure how long the couple was dating, but in 2013, they went on a vacation to Cabo, Mexico, and on Lover's Beach, Duane got on his knee and asked his wife if she would marry him. She said yes. And by August of 2014, the couple was married. About 2 years after that, in 2016, they bought an upscale 2-story house in a quiet subdivision near the foothills of Payson. Payson is about 60 miles south of Salt Lake City. His second wife had a son, and it appears that they had a functional relationship for a while. There's pictures of them on Facebook vacationing, and they looked happy. Everybody thought of Duane as a hardworking, caring dad. Duane was an experienced pilot. He learned to fly in Utah Valley, and he worked as a medevac in Alaska. And in 2017, he got a job about 15 minutes from his house as a plane manager, I believe, or a pilot at a construction company. The airport that the plane was housed in is a general aviation airport, which means that there's no traffic control tower. Duane's employers said that he was a rock-solid guy, and he had complete access to the entire plane, every inch of it at any time, and that he had fully earned the firm's trust. They literally trusted him with their lives when he was flying them around in the plane. The airport community in general held Duane in very high regard. He was known as an exemplary and trusted member of the community. 2018 wasn't so good to the Youd family. In April, Duane got arrested for disorderly conduct, but it was classified as domestic violence. He was released and had court in July. And during court, he agreed to go to marriage and family counseling for 6 months. It was obvious to the children, at least, that the couple was having a lot of issues. On Sunday, August 12th, the couple started drinking early in the day, and they were bickering and arguing. And at some point, they decided to go to a nearby canyon to talk about their marital issues. When I initially heard that, I was like, oh my God, they went to this area with a massive drop-off. But no, it's not. It had paved running trails, and it had boardwalks, and it had streams and waterfalls. And so it seemed like a pretty nice area. But of course, it didn't stop them from arguing. At some point during the conversation, an affair was brought up. I'm not sure who was having the affair or if anyone was actually even having an affair. Apparently, Duane got super upset and he started screaming and yelling, and the two decided to walk back to the truck and go home. When they got in the car, the argument didn't stop and they continued screaming and yelling at each other as they were driving down the road. At one point, Duane slams on the brake, he gets out of the car, walks around to her side, yanks open the door, pulls her out, punches her in the face, threw her to the side, got back in the car, and tried to speed away really quick in hopes of leaving her there. She was quick to react. She jumped in the back of the bed of the truck, something I don't recommend. And once he noticed she was back there, he started driving erratically, weaving around the road. And at one point, he slammed on the brakes, trying to throw her out. I'm unsure how, but she made her way into the cab and he started punching her from behind, and then he looked at her and he headbutted her several times in the face. And she started screaming and clawing at him to get him off of her. Finally, witnesses saw and called 911 and intervened, and Duane was arrested right there in the canyon. and was booked on suspicion of domestic violence. He got out of jail around midnight, and around 12:30, he requested that an officer go with him to the house to make sure that everything went smoothly while he collected some of his belongings and the truck. There was an officer that went with him, and the whole event went smoothly. There was no signs from Duane that something was wrong. His 17-year-old biological son from his first marriage was in the house when he went and picked up some of his stuff. And so as Duane was leaving, his son told him that he loved him, and Duane told him that he loved him back. A few hours later, Duane called his son. I'm not sure if his daughter was at the house as well, but he called his son and said that he wanted him to leave the house and go stay with his mom. And the son did what he was told. Just a few moments later, Duane gets to his work site and made his way to the company aircraft, a twin-engine Cessna 525. He got in the aircraft and took off into the night sky. Duane flew the plane directly to his neighborhood and circled above it a few times. At around 2:30, he descended the plane, flying under high-voltage power lines and avoiding other homes, maneuvers that only an experienced pilot would intentionally do. As he got closer to the house, he clipped a garage and hit a car, which altered his trajectory. But the plane still hit the house, and as soon as it hit, it erupted into flames. Unbelievably, the house remained mostly intact. By the time first responders arrived to the scene, they couldn't render life-saving measures because of the fire. They couldn't even get to him, so he died on the scene. One of Duane's neighbors came running out of his house, Mr. Ortega, and he filmed the video that I'm going to show you now. It's truly miraculous that his wife and stepson got out of the house alive. I don't know how they did that. But his wife would go on to tell the news. She didn't know what was in his head, and she doesn't understand why, and now she never will. As I continue to cover these cases and to research them, I'm constantly reminded that domestic violence homicides are relatively predictable and share a very similar pattern of events and behaviors. Although there wasn't enough information for me to point out the different patterns, I still wanted to share the story in hopes that this video can raise awareness and help educate people about domestic assaults and escalating violence. If you find it in your heart today, please light a candle for anybody who's lost their lives at the hands of domestic violence. And if you or anyone you know is suffering or experiencing this, please reach out. Reach out to somebody in your support network. Reach out to a local resource or a national resource and check out the safety plans on this page. Please be safe and always know that you're not alone, and there's a lot of people waiting for you, waiting to help you. Stay safe out there, guys, and I will see you in the next video.